Isn't it amazing how the cycle set in our times, peak and drop without thought, care or even caution, how we, like a reed tossed among the waves, get washed through it all and quite unwittingly get thrown against the rocks along the ocean's rugged shores and left hence dry up and wither with the noonday's unrelenting sunbeat. I do not know where my endless ruminations take me, but one thing I have grown to learn is that, unlike the cycles created to colonize our minds, be it the Hellenic cycles, Roman cycles, Julian or even Gregorian cycles, in form of calendars, my ruminations always supersede all these classical antiquities to lead me to the person within. So even with the completion of the 2020 Gregorian calendar and with the start of another supposed Earth onslaught on its journey around the sun, I am drawn to the French saying that states that plus ça change, plus c'est la même chose, to mean the more things change, the more they stay the same. Now were I asked who said these ancient pessimist words, I would so easily answer that no better words are these than the sayings of a midday drunkard. Far from it, however, for these stand the words of an amazing 1849 French writer known as Jean-Baptiste. The same goes on to augment the very beautiful inscription by one of my favorite amazing poets and writers of all time, and this is none other than the preacher himself, King Solomon the Great. At the mention of this name, I believe most of us would remember him for vanity of vanities, but right within these vanities does he go on to note in Ecclesiastes chapter 1 and verse 9, and I quote, "The thing that hath been is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done, and there is no new thing under the sun." Now looking at the festivities just past, and with the rush that came with it, am I drawn to the fact that man remains as primal as it could get. Now before you get me wrong though, and lose the trail of what these sketches are all about, allow me to say, blessed days and pleasant nights. Welcome. Now welcome to the little specks that play right before us, but because we make ourselves too busy to notice, are we caught up in the wake of the rush, missing it all. Welcome to the concepts and habits we deem normal, yet were we to take a backseat and throw it all a keener look, would all the lies beneath fall bare and exposed. Now welcome to your sketches, welcome to my sketches, and welcome to our sketches. It is still and quiet, almost pin drop. Listening to the silence, you would almost think it is midnight, only in this case with the sun overhead. No, don't be mistaken at all. It isn't the land of the midnight sun up in the poles. I mean, I am writing this from the confines of my abode along the equatorial region. This is Kenya, and as such strangeness in climatic and solar shifts lays an unseen phenomena. On the other hand, however, it is the beginning of the year. Children have returned to school even as the previous year's pandemic hit stands as a scourge we must learn to live with rather than be scared of. With their noisy absence hence, has the stillness in the air grown, save for the periodic hammer hits across the distance from construction workers. Now speaking of construction workers, with the sweep of the scourge through the country, has there been an upsurge of new residential buildings despite increased tenant shifts from one residence to another, leaving others almost empty as others stand half-filled. The dynamics in economy mostly don't seem to add up, in my opinion, as most constructions continue to come up despite the dip in spending capabilities. I guess the more things change, the more they remain the same. What is, has been, and shall be, so even as I stare into the rising apartment standing right before me, as it grew up and barred the very sunrise from my balcony and window, I have nothing to complain about, as I would have contributed to the same obtuse city planning leadership now rearing its ugly head. So, though I miss the sunrise every morning, I could as well put up with the scorching overhead sun that heats up my brains to complaints, or better still, rise up much earlier every morning and ride towards the eastern horizon to catch it as it rises, Now away from my rumblings. Though the streets are once again upbeat as children rush to school and parents press past each other in a rush to make ends meet, the scare of infection being the least of anyone's concern at the moment, as the pockets cry with a desire to be filled despite being tirelessly emptied by not only the now rising food prices but also hiked school fees. I guess we must all pay back for depriving our dear teachers of their so desired coins during the period the kids studied at home. Studies that I doubt were offered for free, but yet again, was this period any easier on anyone? Maybe for some it was. As noted, I fondly heard of the sarcastic name called COVID millionaires, even as most families cried of lack of food or even proper housing. Quite strange, huh? Yet still must I not throw blame or shade at anyone other than myself for contributing to the same leadership that cares not about me but its own belly. At this point, do I almost appreciate that a big pot belly sure needs more filling. Question to this, however, is that while the bigger belly needs more filling, does it reciprocate to the fact that the smaller belly deserves deprivation? But as earlier mentioned, I may have no right to rumble, yet the itch to ask extra questions grows even more as I wonder that for the period our children had been home, what have we learned? For the period times have hit us, pinning us against the wall, have we remained crushed, or have we acquired better skills and even new implementable ideas? Have we tried our hand at something new and failed well at it? Or have we all sat back and prayed that the COVID hit retreats and life returns back to normal? Now as your child returns back into the hands of our most loyal teachers, have you gotten to know them? Have you listened to and understood them, or were you too busy trying to get money to feed them or pay for their expensive education? One most don't even ask for, yet you know they must look like Auntie Jane or Uncle Jeff's kids so as to be at par. I mean, do you know their strengths and weaknesses? Do you know what they desire more in life than just fulfilling and completing the 844 education system previously instituted by our colonial fathers? Is it still true that once done with this educational system, there stands a job opportunity waiting for them at the other end of the fence? I do not know whether my ruminations stand justified or not, or whether I am right or even wrong. But one thing I know that applies across all levels is that from the period we have all gone through, if you haven't learned at least one thing, then you stand a loser, my dear trader. Yet not to leave you at a lost tell, allow me to pose a question. Now if the preacher says that all stands vanity under the sun, what then, my dear trader, remains the point of life itself? Yes, I know that it is good for a man to eat and drink and to make merry, for this is the fruit of his labor. Yet even this in itself stands as vanity, as we still remain accountable to our Creator. Why not then, as we begin this year, when despite our rush and labor, remember our Creator in the days of our youth? While the evil days are not yet come, nor the years seem drawn nigh, when we shall say that we find no pleasure in them. So then, to the conclusion of the whole matter, and just as the preacher would have it, fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. For the Almighty shall bring every work into judgment with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil. So to nut the shell in a crack, the more things change, surely, so do they stay the same. Yet not to bore you anymore with my rumblings, my dear trader, why not aim for a higher purpose than that which meets and yet is set for the eye? So as you catch up with the beginning of your year, and until the next time we trade together, please stay blessed and stay safe. It's Paper, the sketches of life.